Welcome to Simply Robotics, the podcast, a podcast exploring the animation industry one episode at a time. I'm your host, Monique. You can find me on all social media platforms at Simply Robotics. That's SIMPLYROBOTIX. When listening to the show, use the hashtag Simply Robotics Pod to join in on the conversation. Welcome back. Happy New Year. Happy Black History Month. Today's episode was very fun. Okay, it's going to be very fun for you. I have been taking the time off between doing my 12 days of Christmas, Hanukkah, Wanzika, and just like debriefing and coming down from that, and been thinking about how am I going to go forward with having guests on the show, because I do want to have more guests this year. So I came up with a structure, and this was my first time kind of executing it. It's similar to when I had my friend on for the Toy Story series, if you will, or I don't know, universe, Toy Story World episode. It's a little bit similar to that, but I'm not going to ramble anymore. Let's just get into this episode. So first, can you tell my listeners a little bit about your podcast? Like, where did you start? Where you guys based and things like that?
Why are you looking at me?
There's no one else to look at.
Yeah, there's no one else in the room. No one. Not even Patrick Starr.
Oh no.
Sorry.
Right, no.
Seriously. Hi.
Hi.
Bre here to explain a little. So yeah, our podcast, Black and Animated, is a podcast that aims to empower, educate, and inspire Black creatives trying to seek careers in animation, and that includes and is not limited to production, storyboarding, writing, color styling, the works, everything that's kind of involved with what makes an animated show or a feature. And we're based in the LA area. I say LA area because I live in Burbank currently, and like Waymond's in NoHo, and sometimes we record at our places, sometimes we record at our interviewee.
Yeah, interviewee.
That's the word. Interviewees places, because sometimes it's more comfortable for people that way.
And that's cool that you guys have the flexibility to do so. Most of the people that's on your show work in studios where you can sneak like a room or something, right?
Yeah. Sometimes we do work, or we do interview in studios.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we started Black and Animated about, from now, like 2 years ago, I think. Yeah, it's been about 2 years since we started. And oh wow, I'm trying to remember exactly.
It's just funny because it feels like I've known you longer than how the actual amount of time it's been.
Yeah, because I want to say like 10 years. And I'm like, no, it's only
back
been, like...
in 1945 when I was a young lad. The podcast, even though podcast didn't exist.
Yeah, we met each other at CTN, Creative Talent Network Animation
No,
Expo.
we met before that, remember?
Oh yeah, that's right.
At that mixer.
We always get the mixed up. But we met at a mixer back in 2017. Yes. And it was just like our Cartoon Network mixer for that was hosted by Cartoon Network and Chris Wimberly of the Animation Network podcast. And we met at that mixer.
Yes, we met there.
That was when we first met. The second time we met was the CTN Creative Talent Network Animation Expo in Burbank. And that's kind of when we...
It was later that year, right?
Yeah, it was the same year, like November-ish, 2017. And we started talking, and then we started just talking about our interest in podcasting and then the type of podcast we would like to hear. And then we were like, wait, why don't we just do it? Like, instead of just talking about it.
And then I messaged Waymond and I was like, hey, meet me at the Starbucks down the street. And you're like, okay.
Yep.
And then we plotted it out, and then we were shy babies to contact cool people.
Yeah.
And then we contacted them, and now we're here.
Yeah.
And do people reach out to you also to be on the show?
Yes, people have reached out to us to be on the show. It was kind of funny, because Jeff Tremel of Craig of the Creek, he had been eyeing the podcast for a while and was just kind of like watching us from afar. And before we like got into our formal interview, he was like, "So I was just waiting on y'all to contact me, and I was wondering when you would." But we've gotten some people that have reached out to us saying like, "Hey, I'd like to be on it," or have sent us recommendations of people.
Oh, that's
And
great.
it's hard to kind of like sparse them out because we typically have about 7 people that we interview, and then we have our 7 like talky episodes where it's just Waymond and I talking about whatever thing going
animation
on
from the Black perspective, based episodes, the B&W episodes,
or WB.
Okay.
Haven't figured that out.
Yeah. But yeah, we try to like limit the episodes to about 14 or 15 episodes per year or season.
Yeah.
Because we're also both working professionals, and it takes a lot of time to make a podcast. And
say it. People have no idea.
Yeah. It takes so much time to make a podcast. And
it's hard.
Yeah, I'm like, people that have like a bunch of different podcasts that run weekly, I'm like, how
do you do this?
Yeah, because it's a lot of work, especially if you're doing it by yourself. Like it's just like just indie. It's like, oh god.
But it's like really rewarding because like there have been people that have come up to us individually and have been like, "Hey, are you Bre? Are you Way?" And then it's like, "How do you know my name? Who are you?" And then it's like, "Wait a minute, hold on." And they're like, "Yeah, listen to the podcast." And I'm like, "Oh, that's really nice."
I'm like, "Oh, thank you."
So also with that being said, how often is your show released?
It is a bi-weekly podcast, and we typically start premiering episodes in February for Black History Month, and we go bi-weekly from there until around sometime in summer, like August or September.
Yeah, like around August or September is when like our episodes we usually hit that 14 or 15 episode mark. And then we basically go on hiatus till the next year because need a little break.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you guys like legit take a break, not like a cute 3 week.
We take a break.
We're not just like, oh, we take a break. It's the holiday break.
But that also makes sense with you guys starting in February. You still feel like we get your show throughout most of the year, that the break doesn't even seem that long now that you've mentioned it.
Yeah, it goes by really fast.
Yeah, it goes by super fast. You mentioned that sometimes you record at like the interviewee's place of work or what have you, but when you don't have an interviewee, where do you guys record? Is like in a studio or in your homes or?
It's
in our homes.
Yeah, in our homes. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't really have anything like super fancy. It's just our mics and Waymond's cool laptop. Yeah. Sometimes my laptop.
Yeah, the life of an Indeed podcaster.
And do you guys also edit your own show?
Yep, we do. We edit in the good old Premiere. Or no, not Premiere. Audition. Wrong program.
Same company, wrong program.
There but yeah,
we use Audition. Yeah.
That's
this
next.
Is not a sponsor of Audition. We're just saying we like it. Of course, Adobe, if you want to give me money.
Hey.
I know, right? So moving on from about your podcast, like about you guys now specifically, where are you from? Because I know most people end up moving to California, LA to work in animation. And if you did move to Cali, where are you originally from? And where'd you go to college?
You first, Way.
Well, I am originally from Bronx, New York.
What? The Bronx.
The Bronx. New York represent.
Oh my gosh, you're like the happiest sounding Bronx person I've ever heard.
It's because I moved to LA.
Clearly, that's why.
But yes,
Wow.
I'm originally from Bronx, New York, and I went to school down in Savannah, Georgia, at the Savannah College of Art and Design, and I studied the SCAD scabs.
It just sounds kind of gross.
Yeah, it does.
Oh my gosh.
And I studied animation.
Oh, is it my turn? I thought you were going to keep going.
Oh, I mean, I can't remember what else I was supposed to answer.
No,
I only
those are the
remembered
3
where you're from.
questions.
Okay, cool.
Cool. I'm originally from Chi-Town, good old Chicago,
Oh,
Midwest
nice.
corn, Portillo's, hot dogs, da bears. If I have a Chicago accent, I guess it's not very apparent. I don't know. I've asked people and they're like, I don't know, and I'm like, cool, that's great. And yeah, I made the great leap out west, but I went to Columbia College Chicago, and it's like downtown, pretty nice art school. And fun fact, Gendy Tartakovsky went there for a hot minute and then went to Cal Arts because he's like, bye, I gotta go there.
Wow, fun fact.
It's actually really funny. If you watch the season 2 Samurai Jack DVD, there's a like the Gendy storybook, like it's a chronicle of his life and his journey out west to California and working in Cartoon Network. And they talk about Columbia, and the former head of my animation department, Barry Young, is on the DVD talking about how great Gendy is, and he was still there while I was in school, and he's like, oh, Gendy was such a delight and his stuff was like so good. And I'm like, cool. All right. That's neat. So yeah, I went there, and then I worked in advertising for about 2 years. Even though I didn't study advertising, I just kind of fell into it because hey, it pays well. But I was like, that's not what I want to do. And then a friend of mine and I had a phone call who was a podcast guest of ours named Kalen. He and I talked for a little bit, and he was like, "When are you gonna make the jump out here?" That's how he sounds.
That's exactly.
That's how he.
Wow,
that's how he talks. He's got a really deep voice, and I was like, "Yeah, I don't know." And I didn't like my response of being, "I don't know." So I decided, "Hey, I'm gonna go do this." So I left. I leapt out here with 3 friends and worked in advertising for a little bit again because I it pays well, and I hustled on the side for animation, and now I'm out here working in the industry. Yay!
Beautiful.
I feel like that was really long.
Yeah, I feel like I totally missed that.
Yeah, did you say how you made your way to California?
I did not. I missed that part.
Waymond.
Oops. Yeah, so I went to SCAD, and then after SCAD, I moved back to New York, and I worked there for about 2 or 3 more years. And the first place I worked after SCAD was a studio called Augenblick Studios in Dumbo, Brooklyn.
I've heard of them, yeah.
Yeah, they're really cool, nice people. I think they have their 20 or 30th anniversary of being studios coming up soon.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so that's really neat. And yeah, they're a smaller studio, but they do a lot of big projects. Like I think one of their most well known is Ugly Americans, which was on Comedy Central in the mid 2000s, and Wonder Chosen. But anyway, yeah, I was there. I worked as an intern and then worked as a production assistant. And after being a production assistant there, I moved on to a small publishing house doing animation for like their children's book series. And while I was there, I was kind of like, this is not exactly what I want to do. I want to get into more cartoon animation, and New York doesn't have that in abundance, and
Right.
LA does. So I just made the leap. I just built up my storyboarding portfolio because I realized at some point working at Augenblick, like, oh, storyboarding, that's really cool. That's what I want to do. So I built that up and just went for it, made the leap, moved here, and in a couple months landed a gig at Oddbot Studios, which was the first studio I worked at when I moved out to LA.
I didn't say where I was working. Should I have said that?
Well, you
it's
said
okay.
advertising was where you were working, and that's not specifically animation, unless you want to like shout out to what was it? I can't remember the name of the place you were working. Avatar Labs.
No, Avatar Labs was here. I worked at a very small advertising agency in Chicago called Paco Collective, which dealt with the Latino market and a little bit of general market. General meaning, I don't know, advertising terms are weird because you have markets for like different cultures and ethnicities, but general market is just like it's basically white people, and I kind of I don't know, it makes it sound like general is like normal, you know. Oof. So I kind of don't like that terminology in advertising.
That makes sense.
But yeah, I was doing they hired me for storyboarding actually at that advertising agency because like, you know, ads or they need storyboards.
Totally.
But after I like did the beat boards for a couple of commercials for an electric power company called ComEd, which is like the main company in Chicago and like the northern Illinois area. I was like, cool, so these are done. When's the next one? And they were like, oh, we don't do them that often. Can you like do graphic design and billboard ads and all these like digital banners? And I'm like, yes.
I technically could do that.
So they molded me into a designer, which I'm kind of grateful for because it gave me the opportunity to get better entertainment ad jobs out here when I made the leap to LA.
Yeah.
So that kept me afloat working and making money while I hustled for animation jobs on the side because I eventually want to be a storyboard artist, but at the moment I am in production and I was able to get a job at Wild Canary Animation. Yeah. Oh, I'm currently working as a production coordinator right now at Wild Canary Animation. And I started off as a PA there and then a design coordinator. And now I'm just full on like episodic coordinator. And it's really cool. And we're on a cool show about a cool Indian girl. She's going to solve some mysteries.
But you said you would like to move into like a storyboard artist position though.
Yes, that is correct. Like what I've always wanted to do is to be a storyboard artist. However, what I'm trying to do is beef up my storyboarding portfolio so I can get that storyboard revisionist job and then eventually move up to full on boards, maybe even direct later down the road. We'll see. But right now my goal is like revisions.
And Waymond?
Hi, I'm here too. Wait, wait, what was the question?
No, but are you currently working as a storyboard artist?
Oh, yes. So, sorry. I was so involved with listening with your answer. Yeah, I am currently working as a storyboard revisionist at Disney Television Animation. Previously, I was working as a storyboard artist at Nickelodeon, and previous to that was my first gig, which was Oddbout, where I was working as a storyboard artist.
Got it. Well, that's all like the interviewee stuff. We're gonna get into some fun parts of the show, right? Ooh. So I did ask you guys ahead of time to send me your favorite movies, and we're gonna start off with one of Bre's favorite movies, which is The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yes.
So Bre, would you want to do the honors of like a quick recap of this movie for those who may not have ever seen it?
Oh, sure.
Is that too much pressure?
No, that's I need to leave. Oh,
no. we both looked at each other with the most fear in our eyes because we were just like, we actually answered questions. When did this happen? I was like, oh wait, yeah, we did. We totally did. We just forgot we answered the questions. Oh my gosh.
Okay, yes. So Hunchback of Notre Dame is about a creepy old man, and he's about to basically he's a creepy old man, and he's also a mega racist, but he justifies it by using religion, which isn't cool. Don't do that. And he tries to kill a bunch of Roma. I'm not going to say the other word because that's bad. You shouldn't say that word anymore to refer to people who are that. And he's like, I'm gonna drown this baby after killing her mom, and it's totally fine. And then the archdeacon's like, yo, don't do that. That's really bad. And he's like, oh dang, that actually is really bad. God's gonna get me. I'm gonna take this baby and raise it, but also gaslight this baby and lock it away. And that's not cool. and and then then the baby grows up, and Tom Hulse voices the baby, and he's got a really good singing voice, and he's like, man, I just want to leave this tower and stop ringing some bells all the day and talking to my gargoyle friends. And one of them is Jason Alexander, who's like, I'm comedy relief. Yeah.
You do a really good job. Keep going, please. I'm enamored.
and then he meets a cool lady who's really pretty named Esmeralda. After sneaking to this festival, and he's like, wow, she's really hot, but I'm not gonna objectify her, I think. And then and then this guard guy is like, man, she's really hot, I'm kind of gonna objectify her. Oh, actually that's bad. And then the kid Quasimodo becomes like the festival, the king of all the fools or whatever. And I'm sorry, I'm like trying to do this really fast.
Yeah, wow, you're only 30 minutes into the
No,
movie.
you're doing a great job. I'm living.
and Quasimodo gets, people love him for a hot minute, and then everybody's like, oh no, actually he ugly, let's throw stuff at him, and that's not cool. And Esmeralda's like, you need to stop that. And Frollo, the creepy old man who's also a racist, is like, yo girl, you hot, but I need you to stop doing that. And she's like, I don't want none of that. And they try to throw her in jail, and then everything is fine, kind of. Quasimodo gets upset, and then they have to save her from the creepy man. And then the creepy man tries to like take away all of the Roma people, and then Quasimodo's like, no, we're not gonna do that. And he saves the day because Frollo dies, and the movie ends, and Phoebus and Esmeralda get together, and Quasimodo doesn't get the girl, but that's okay. And then they made a sequel, and he does get a girlfriend, and it's like,
Wow.
Yes, right.
Wow.
So why is the Hunchback of Notre Dame on your like top fave animated movies list?
Hunchback, in all seriousness, away from my jokey retelling of it, really spoke to me as a child for some reason, because it was different than the other Disney films that I saw. Like, because for me, Hunchback and Lion King are like both up there really high, and sometimes I go back and forth between which one I love the most. But there was something about the message of, like, not being like a horrible person to people who are more different than you are, and just like not using religion as a means to be an awful person. I guess I picked up on that. And there was just something about like the music and Quasimodo's passion to just sort of like break away from someone telling him that he's not allowed to sort of like be himself. I really liked seeing that as a kid, and it's always like stuck out to me.
So for me, I think I don't really remember watching it too much as a child. I more so remember it was probably, I don't know if it was Burger King or McDonald's, like they had the toy rollout.
Yeah.
And that more inclined me that more like made me want to see the movie. And then I saw it, and that scene where the bad guy has like Esmeralda in the church, and which I now understand is basically singing about doing bad things to her.
Mm-hmm.
I just remember as a kid being like, oh no, there's something wrong here. I don't want to watch this anymore. And it probably took me until being like a teenager to watch it again and being like, oh well, the music is really good. Yes, not saying the bad word anymore. They have like their songs, and I was like, yeah, I really like. It's like what's it called? Underrated, slightly underrated. I feel
Yeah.
like it gets mentioned, but it's not always seen for being like such a good movie.
And I think that's because of the tone issues that the movie has. For as much praise as I give it, it does have tonal problems, because like you go from like the
very serious,
from very serious to like intense comedy, and like that's fine to have comedy in your like serious films, but the juxtaposition of songs like A Guy Like You, and then prior to that, Frollo's burning all of Paris trying to capture all these people just to find Esmeralda. So it's kind of like, this is a little weird,
Yeah, they're like
you know.
their
Yeah.
tones are at both ends of the poles, and it's kind of like, wow, they can meet in the middle a little bit more.
And you're right, you don't really pick up on some of
Yeah.
those themes as a kid, because like as a baby child, I didn't know that Frollo was a creepy racist old man. Well, I mean, he seemed awful to me, but it's like you don't have the words for that yet.
Mm-hmm.
And there's, like you said, Monique, there's just something about him that was like, this is a bad man, and I don't know why, but I don't, if I met a man like this, I would not want to be around him. This is an awful grandpa.
Right.
I think I really liked the movie when I was a kid. I can't remember, like, I definitely remember watching it. I probably didn't watch it like a million times because, like, watching a movie repeated times is kind of rare for me, I guess, even in childhood. But I remember I had this Quasimodo. Is that the name of the
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I had this Quasimodo puppet. It was a Quasimodo puppet,
Mm-hmm.
and you can like put your hand in his hunchback, and you basically
Oh
can
my
control
god.
his arms with your like thumb and pinky finger, and like turn his head with your like index finger, middle finger. So it's like one of those type of puppets.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved that puppet to death. I loved it so much. I can't remember like being in love with the movie. I just remember loving the puppet.
Well, I'd imagine it'd be really hard to like show that
Oh,
film to
okay.
your children.
Mm-hmm.
But my aunt, who I think was in early college years at the time, late high school, she lived with me, my granny, and my mom. And my auntie Kina, she was like a really big like Disney head. She loved Pocahontas, she loved Hunchback, and I would always watch these movies with her, and she and I would always sing Hellfire, and what's the other one? Jeez. What is the juxtaposition song that Quasimodo sings? What's it called? It's Hellfire and Heaven's Light.
I only remember Hellfire.
She and I would always sing Hellfire and Heaven's Light and Out There, God Help the Outcast, like all of them. We would like be singing together. And when Frollo's like, when she will burn, and he falls out, my aunt and I would like mimic that and like just fall out in the bed just like he would.
Wow, that is a beautiful memory. Yeah.
That's such a pure memory. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So moving on to one of Way's movies, I
Yeah.
have The Secret of Nimh here. Before you start your like recapping of the movie, yes, because you know you're gonna have to do this too. I want to say that I was scared of the movie for some reason as a child, so I watched it for the first time last night. And I guess maybe it was the trailers, and I just understood that it wasn't
Yeah.
an American Tale.
Mhm.
Or like, you right? Fightful Goes West.
Yeah, it is definitely a darker film.
It wasn't that kind, even though it kinda looked like they could have been
Mhm.
related, it wasn't that
This is
kind of movie,
Christmas.
so I've never watched it. And so after we're gonna talk about it. Yes. So I'm like, baby Monique made sense by not watching this,
Uh,
because she wouldn't have been able to handle it. And, I'll let you recap the movie now. For people who have no idea what we're talking about, what is The Secret of Nim about?
Okay, The Secret of Nimh is a beautiful tale. It focuses on this little mouse named Mrs. Brisby, who is trying to care for her sick child and all of her children. She has 4 children that she's trying to take care of. One is very, very sick, so she is trying to get some medicine to take care of him. And as she's trying to figure out how to get medicine for her child, it turns out that the cement block that the mice live in is in the middle of this field that a farmer is about to, what do you call it? I guess farm.
Yeah,
What
like
was
he's
what's the
clearing
word for it?
clearing
Yeah,
it
okay, yeah,
out.
he's clearing out this field with this gigantic tractor, and it's basically moving day for all of the little woodland creatures that live on this farm. But Brisby can't really move her children because one is super sick and is unmovable. So, through rumors, she hears about these rats, the rats of Nimh, who live in the farmer's rose bush. And she basically tries to get the help of these rats. And um, basically, the whole film is her getting in contact with the rats deciding whether or not they're going to help her, them deciding that they are going to help her. There's some rat treason that happens within the rat community of these rats.
Sorry, the phrase rat treason.
Some rat treason happens because the leader of the rats is like, let's help this woman, and one random evil rat dude is kind of like, I don't want to help nobody. Also, I want us to stay in this rose bush because they're also trying to decide whether or not they should move. And yeah, they
It's okay.
they moved the cement block, but also some rats died in the process. And basically, Mrs. Brisby finds out that she has some type of weird hidden power, but mostly
Love.
because she's, I guess it is love technically, but I think it's the way they play it is because she's related to um, uh, Mr. Brisby, who is dead in this film. And it ends with the cement home being moved and everyone's happy.
Yeah.
Also, I think I need to pause for a second because I have to grab my laptop charger because my battery's dying.
Okay.
I will be right back. It's funny because like I watched the film recently as well. Like maybe wait, when did I watch it? No, it was on my birthday, which was last month in December. And yeah, so I feel like I would not be able to retell the film at all if it wasn't for that last viewing that I just had.
Yeah.
Because
For me,
yeah, watching it,
I was just like, this is a lot. Like, there's a lot of different things happening, but then also I'm like, like I just feel like so many things didn't have to happen if she had just like minded her business and went home straight from getting the medicine for her sick son. But I understand she
yeah,
had a kind heart and she helped the bird, and then her whole life went left. Like really,
yeah.
So everything's Jeremy's fault,
Everything is
basically.
Jeremy's fault. Well, I mean, it's not like you like it's definitely while rewatching it, I realized it's such a slow movie, and it's like so much happens that's like doesn't need to happen, and it's just a lot of the things that happen or decisions that are made is because of this one dead guy or dead mouse that everyone loves.
Jonathan Brisby.
Yeah, Jonathan Brisby, and also Mrs. Brisby never gets a first name. Her name is just Mrs. Brisby, and I was just like, wow, I never really realized that she's just labeled based off of her husband. And
yes.
yeah, I feel like it's a very slow movie, but I remember watching it as a kid, like whenever it would come on TV. I can't remember what channels it would come on, but it would come on, and when it came on, I'd be like, all right,
Fox, maybe.
Gotta watch it. Time to watch it. We're watching this, and I was very enamored by it, and I loved it. I loved it.
It's really charming.
Yeah, it's a very charming film. It's just slow, so I'm like, wow. Yeah, it's very dark too, so I can understand why you
that rat gets stabbed.
Yeah, so much rat trees.
Rat trees.
And Nicodemus is horrifying looking, and the great owl is horrifying looking. They're very scary characters.
Don Bluth makes horrifying creatures.
And it starts with them. Like
Yeah,
in the
you just
immediately.
like it starts with like creepy hands, and it's just like, oh man, what is this? I gotta go. Oh boy, yeah. But I mean, still watching it, or when I recently watched it, it's still had a lot of the love I had for it back then. It's just now I can look at it a lot more critically. Yeah,
Still love.
Yeah, and I still love it. I still really like it. I feel like I'm not as in love with it as I was as a kid.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I have a big question about this movie.
For sure.
Why does Nicodemus have powers?
Okay, yeah. So there were so many unanswered questions. One of Nicodemus has magic powers for some reason, and they kind of hint that maybe it's because they were tested on, but they don't really say it's because they were tested on. Because I mean, they're smarter. Sure, they're smarter because they were tested on. But then, why does Nicodemus have superpowers? Also, how is Mrs. Brisby smart too? Like, she's also kind of intelligent, so it's just like,
well, no, Jonathan taught her how to read and write. Okay, remember?
But also to have the capacity to learn how to read and write. That's where I'm like, how?
Also, why did Jenner suddenly want the stone at the end? Because he never mentioned talking about wanting the stone. And until he saw the stone on Mrs. Brisby's neck, he's like, the stone, I want it.
Truly, yeah. And it's just like, I feel like things like, I don't know, there are a lot of questions unanswered that
Can somebody get Don Bluth on the phone? I got some questions.
I feel like a lot of the questions are left unanswered because it kind of makes it feel a little bit more fantastical. Because once you start answering every question, it starts to get stale and you start to have all the answers to things and stuff like that.
True, but the real reason is probably that because they couldn't fit it all in a movie since this is a book.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I'll also say that Don Bluth loves to do that. Don Bluth loves to be like, all right, here's something. It's just like, but why? And it's like nope, we're moving on. No, we're moving on to the next thing. It's like, okay, Don Bluth, all right.
God, that's how Thumbelina was. It was just like, boom, boom, boom. Yeah, wait, why are we here? Yeah, if you don't worry about it.
Yeah, if you do it too much, though, it's just like, all right, there's nothing but unanswered questions, and I don't know where to go from here.
How did this become the Don Bluth?
Welcome to the Don Bluth
hour. It's kind of hard, like, not to.
Oh man, I love Don Bluth films.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Going on back to Bre. I was watching this episode prior to I was watching this movie prior to our recording right now because I had to refresh my memory, and that is the film The Road to El Dorado.
El Dorado.
I just wanted to say first before you explain it, I do not recall this much music. Like it I didn't remember it was like a musical.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now you can recap it for us.
Yeah, also I guess I just want to say too that I know that El Dorado's kind of got some really bad clout going on right now, considering the stuff that happened with the director.
Right.
And I find that is really unfortunate, and my heart goes out to all of the women who were abused or just like victimized by this. Was it the co-director or main director of El Dorado? I can't remember.
I think he was a co-director. I'm pretty sure.
Well, he co-director or director, regardless, he was the head honcho on the movie, and my heart goes out to all the people who are speaking up, and I fully support them. That being said, I understand that like sometimes it's very hard to have like separation of like the media and the person that creates it. I guess I just want to say that like even though this awful person is attached to this movie, now that it's like out in the limelight for everyone, this movie is still near and dear to me, and I want to look at the people who put their hearts into the film, and I support them and not this man who hurt people.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to say that before I get into it because I know that potentially could come up.
No, that's very important.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, El Dorado. Oh, I watched this so much as a baby child. I watched this movie so much.
Mm-hmm.
There was something about it style-wise for me that was just so different, just like Hunchback.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about these two con artists, Tulio and Miguel. Tulio's really hot, and
okay,
they're basic, and their color scheme, red and blue, player 1, player 2, the typical.
Mm-hmm.
And they're in Spain, and they're these two con artists who are just trying to, like, they're buddies, they're trying to get by. And they're totally in love with each other. I don't care what anybody says. They're totally in love with each other. And and they end up like hustling this one guy for a map um to the wonders of the new world to find the gold, like the legendary gold of El Dorado, because Miguel is kind of like the dreamer and Tulio's the like, the smarts, and he's like, we gotta pay attention, this map is stupid. And Miguel's like, no, I want to go explore. And they end up running away from some guards after hustling the guy from the map, and they end up on the ship of Cortez, the Spanish conquistador, who everyone's probably heard of in like history, who was a big mega jerk also. Did some really bad stuff to, was it the Aztecs or Mayans, I believe.
I will not be. I don't
He
remember.
he did some bad to some natives, and that ain't great.
Mhm.
It's not good at all.
Mhm.
Because colonialism, it's not good. But they end up on Cortez's ship and they're prisoners. And because he thinks that they're stowaways, Cortez is like, yeah, we're going to send you to Cuba where you can work on sugar plantations and you'll be flogged and like abused and beaten. And they're like, crap. And they end up sneaking off the ship in the middle of the night, like during like a storm and everything, while they're running away. And they end up taking one of Cortez's horses. The horse is really good comedy relief, really fun character. And they end up in the new world where El Dorado is. And at first Tulio's like, this is BS. I don't believe in any of this. But the more they go along the journey on the map, they realize, okay, maybe we are actually getting close to the treasure. They end up in El Dorado, meet a super hot lady named Chell. Chell's really cool, super hot lady. And then there is a high priest and the chief. And the high priest is like all about sacrifice and stuff. And the chief is like, I just want my people to live a peaceful life. And when Tulio and Miguel get there, they think they are they're gods. And Tulio and Miguel, being con artists, play that up. But Chell is like, I know your game. I want to get out too. So I know what's going on. Let's just partner up. And Miguel's like, and Julio's like, but then they realize, you know what? We need her to learn the customs and to basically survive. And there's a lot of cool music, montages, blah blah blah. But then the high priest realizes that they're not gods after like seeing one of them get hurt and bleed. I believe it was Miguel, and comes after them with like a big supernatural spirit cat. And Tulio is trying to like leave and take gold, but Miguel wants to stay and pretend to be a god still because he loves like the people in the town, not for like riches, but he just loves like being in this place because it's so like amazing to him. And then at the end of it, they beat the high priest, and Cortez ends up on that island as well and is trying to like go there and like destroy El Dorado, because when they defeat the high priest, he ends up like getting washed away by a current and meeting Cortez, but they block it off so you can't get to the city. And Cortez is like, oh, you this high priest guy is a liar, and then they take him away. And then Chell, Miguel, and Tulio go on adventures, and all three of them love each other, and that's how it ends. It's canon.
Wow. Your movie explanations are poetry.
Okay, and why is it one of your favorites?
Well, I really loved the music, and I think part of it was I remember on my bootleg VHS of Ants, I believe. Was it Ants? Yes, I saw a lot of movies bootleg because of my mom, because she just had a guy at her job who would just bring tapes for her, and I'd be like, cool, another movie. um, or no, it was either no, it was either on my bootleg VHS of Ants or either on my VHS of Joseph, King of Dreams, and there was always a trailer for El Dorado, and I remember it so vividly. And I think because of that trailer, I really wanted to see the movie, because advertisement for El Dorado, from what I remember, was like lackluster as heck. Like all I remember is just one VHS trailer. That's all I remember. But watching it and consuming it as a baby child, I really loved the vivid colors. I loved seeing like just like these two adventurer guys, and I think the adventure appealed to me because I really liked kind of movies and TV shows as a kid that catered more towards the quote unquote boy market, I suppose. Because like I watched a lot of anime and I love Dragon Ball Z, and like I liked
Okay.
Batman Beyond and all that stuff. So I think that's probably why it appealed to me. at least as a kid, but now as like an adult, it has a lot of memorable, funny lines, and I love the relationship between Tulio and Miguel and how much they care for each other, and also like just the aesthetic of two people going on adventures together really appeals to me. I just really love that.
I my dad also used to have a guy, and I saw most of my animated movies via bootleg VHS. I want to say that his guy came to the barbershop
Mm-hmm.
where he
Really?
used to get his haircut, and like just used to have like animated movies and stuff like that. So I personally like relate with you. Rewatching El Dorado now, I was like, I wish I
Mm,
watched it more. Because it also just kind of fell through the cracks for me. It seems very fun, with them going off on like their adventure and their dynamic between the both of them. And I am gonna finish watching it once we're done with our recordings for today because I was having a good time.
The music too, like I think Elton John's music for the film plays pretty well. There are some moments where I kind of feel like maybe there should be less of it, because I know everybody, I can't remember if Tarzan came out before or after this, but if it came out before, then I feel like there was a moment in some movies, some animated films, where it's like, let's have a cool singer person sing over a bunch of moments. And in Tarzan, I feel like it worked every time. In El Dorado, I feel like it worked 80% of the time.
mm,
Like there's a song at the end called Friends Never Say Goodbye, and I like it, but I kind of wish it was a little more quiet,
mm,
because like Tulio and Miguel are having like this moment where their friendship is very much being tested, about like Tulio wants to leave and take the gold and just get out of there, while Miguel really wants to just live among the people, and because he just loves it so much. Brother Bear did a very similar thing where it's like Phil Collins singing over everything again, but there's a moment in Brother Bear that's like, I don't think Phil Collins should be singing over this right now because this is kind of heavy.
mm,
But if El Dorado did in fact come out before Tarzan, then hey, sometimes it just doesn't work all the time. But the music is just so catchy. Like, it's tough to be a god. I really love that song so
man, I
much.
haven't seen Road to El Dorado since I was a kid.
Would you like to come over my apartment and
I
watch?
am down, like your explanation of it and Monique talking about it a little bit. I was like, man, maybe I should see this. I haven't seen it since I was a kid.
A glorious planet built by the divinity, by God, who suffered to restore.
Okay, so I just
Mhm.
went to Google real quick, and it Tarzan came out in '99.
Mm.
So it came out first. Probably just barely, because this came out in the
Mm.
summer. Tarzan came out in the summer. But also, fun fact, if you ever watched Scandal, Fitz, the president in Scandal, he was the voice of Tarzan.
Oh wow.
Oh,
Snap.
making waves.
Who knew?
Yes.
Who knew? Okay, so we got 2 more films, before we keep it moving. Away, you had Kung Fu Panda 2, not the first one or the third, but the second one,
The
as one of
greatest.
your favorites.
The
So
greatest of the Kung Fu Panda.
I did see the second one, and I can't really remember it, but, from the both of the from the films that both of y'all sent in, this is the only CG one, so I thought that was also pretty
Oh.
interesting.
Hmm.
Um, and I guess it's the most recent because both of y'all have, like, a lot of nostalgic things.
Oh, okay.
So yes, tell the people who maybe didn't continue the Kung Fu Panda trilogy what the second one was about.
Yeah. All right. So, I haven't watched Kung Fu Panda 2 in a really long time.
Do your best.
So, ooh, this is gonna be bad.
Yeah.
uh,
Jack Black? Okay, so Jack Black
Jack
Panda.
This is
Black
a
is the
safe
panda.
environment.
But I will say, okay, so I will say it is one of my favorite movies because um, usually the way I can tell if a movie is in my favorites, like I really, really do like this movie, is when I enjoy watching it repeatedly. because for some reason once I watch a movie, I'm like, all right, I already watched this, like whatever, like it's gonna take a few more years before I watch it again. Unless it's like, well, no, I think it is like, unless it's some type of thriller or something where it's like a mystery where it's like, wait, I gotta rewatch this so I know what just happened. I'm like, all right, I saw it, and on to the next thing. And I kind of been like that since I was a kid. So like, again, like with Secret of Nimh, that was one of those movies where I was just like, oh, it's on, gotta watch it now. And that was the same thing. Oh, that was the same thing with Kung Fu Panda 2. I can't remember when it came out, but there was a summer during college that I had the movie on repeat basically, and I would just like watch it. I spent at least 12 hours watching the movie because I was like stayed up all night and just like repeatedly watching the movie like at least one night that summer, and continued just watching it at least like once or twice a week that summer during college. And man, I really really enjoyed it. It was just like, it just made me so happy. So let me see if I don't think I watched it since that summer. And that was about 5 or 6 years ago. So let me see if I can remember. Let's see. We're starting with Poe, and he's a panda played by Jack Black, who in the previous movie Kung Fu Panda, the first one, was he found out that he is I guess has the ability, he's the chosen one, I guess is basically what he is. He's the dragon master of some sorts of a kung fu society, not society, no, like a kung fu trading. Oh boy, I gotta stop. I gotta look up
Okay.
I gotta look up a
You
summary
can
or something.
you can
No, okay, I'm gonna do my
what's it
best.
called? You can phone a friend or whatever they do.
So he is training to be a kung fu master, and he is also a part of this kung fu collective.
Sure.
Called the Furious Five. Basically, he's to be their leader, because he is just naturally gifted at learning kung fu. And he is a protector of the people of China, or wherever they are in China. And oh boy, he in this movie is kind of figuring out his past, because his father is this goose named, I can't remember, but
yes,
he's a goose that owns a noodle shop. And he realizes, hey, my dad's a goose and I'm a panda. I don't think that's how things work. Who am I and where did I come from? And Noodle Goose tells him that he found him in a basket somewhere. So there's a cute panda sequence where he finds a cute baby panda in a basket. And he's like, all right, dope. I'm gonna struggle with who I am for the rest of this movie. So he's kind of half struggling with who he is and not knowing who he is and accepting himself. And the other half of it is
does the Tiger Man come back?
No, he doesn't come back. But there's this peacock guy who was from this really great family who invented fireworks. Yeah, fireworks are so cool, and his family invented them. But the peacock guy was like, you know what? This could be used to kill people. And his family was like, that's not cool. So he was banished from the family. But then he was like, I'll show them. I'm going to make some really cool fireworks that can kill people. And this, I guess, is all shown in a flashback at the beginning of the film. And the rest of the film is him trying to retake over the empire with his cool firework killing machine stuff, which are basically guns. He basically invents guns that are just really cool and sparkly. And he's like, all right, I'm just going to kill whoever gets in my way with my cool firework gun thing. And the Furious Five and Poe are like, man, that's not cool. So they're trying to defeat him, but Poe, whenever he sees a symbol that this peacock has on his clothing or body or whatever, he starts getting crazy dramatic flashbacks of like who he was or family and other pandas, and he's like, wait, I had parents, and he starts to realize this peacock guy knows about my family. I know the symbol from somewhere. And he later realizes that this peacock guy used this cool gun thing to make pandas extinct, and he killed all his family. And Poe's like, oh man,
that's really sad.
Yeah, Poe's like, oh no, that's not cool. So he's just like, I'm the last of my kind, and I don't know who I am. So he's struggling with all that. And the Furious Five is like, bro, we got your back, but also you're the Dragon Master, and you got to believe in yourself. And and he's kind of like, man, I don't know. So as they're trying to defeat Peacock Guy, I keep trying to remember his name, but I can't, so I'm just gonna go with Peacock Guy. Peacock Guy. They're trying to beat Peacock Guy, but then they get captured, and then Poe escapes somehow, and then he's like, man, I suck. My team got caught, and also I don't know who I am, and also I suck at everything, and I'm terrible. And some goat lady finds him. I guess she was like technically the what do you call it? Well, what was
midwife?
No, what was Jafar to?
Oh, the vizier.
Yeah, so she is kind of like the vizier of like the Peacock Guy's family, and she's kind of like, man, this guy sucks. So she's like, yo, Poe, I found you in this like random forest or whatever. I'm just gonna tell you about your background and stuff, and tell you that you're cool and whatever. And Poe's like, wow, you know what? I am cool.
And that's the end.
And at some point he finds he throughout the film he's basically trying to find inner peace with himself and understanding like, hey, you have a lot of flaws and you don't know who you are, and you might see yourself as broken, but you know what? No, this brokenness is what makes you who you are, and he just has to find inner peace with that. Kind of reminds me a little bit of the end of Steven if that spoils that for anybody. But anyway, he finds inner peace while doing this really cool, crazy rain falling from the sky into his paw motion thing. I can't really explain it on audio, but it's really cool to see. And I guess it's a cool kung fu thing. And
you're doing better than you thought you would.
Yeah, I guess so. It's a cool kung fu thing that he was supposed to
you're doing pretty good.
learn at the end of his training, but he learned it really fast. And that's also one of the things about him, is that he learns things really fast, which is why they're like, all right, he's obviously the Dragon Master. And yeah, he just finds inner peace. So he's like, all right, I'm gonna go beat up this Peacock guy before he decides to blow everything up. And Peacock Guy is having this weird parade, I think. I can't really remember, but I just remember that all the Furious Five are tied up. And Poe comes, and he's like, I'm going to beat you up. And then there's this great gag where he's posed from really far, is yelling from really far away that he's going to beat him up. And Peacock Guy's like, wait, what? I can't hear you. Poe's like, I'm going to beat you up. And he's like, wait, what? What'd you say? And then Poe's like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. And then he comes over and does it. And he's like, oh, man, you're beating me up. And Peacock Guy is just really cool. He's animated very well. He's very beautiful animation design with his feathers and fighting style, but very terrifying. And wrap it up?
Probably.
Please tell me to wrap it up. Look, I'm getting to the end of my movie.
No, I actually wasn't. I was actually trying to make like a film motion. To be honest, I'm like, I can be I'm recording it. Like, you're giving me the full
I'm giving you the full play-by-play, even the gags. He releases the Furious Five. They start kicking all the what do you call it, henchmen's butts and whatever. And Peacock Guy's like, oh no, I'm being defeated and stuff. And Poe destroys his like big blow uppy thing at some point, and then he's like, "Oh man, I'm gonna shoot you with my giant cannonball thing." And Poe's just like, "Okay," and he tries to shoot him, and Poe basically does that cool kung fu thing that he did with the rain, but with the cannonball, where he like catches it and then like spins it to go back at him, and he's just like, "What?"
It's like a Rasengan, man.
Yeah, basically it looks like Rasengan, but with Kung Fu Panda. It's really cool. And Peacock Guy's like, but but I have a gun.
But I have a gun.
How could Kung Fu fight a gun? And basically he blows up the big gun thing with the counterattack, and Peacock Eye's like, no, I've been defeated. And Poe's like, you don't have to be defeated. We can be friends. And Peacock Eye's like, no. And he tries to double cross him, and then that fails because it's a movie. And yeah, I guess Poe and Furious 5 win the day. And then the end shows this big mysterious mountaintop where there's Panda who kind of looks like Poe but isn't Poe, and he looks back at the camera and he's like, son, or something like that, and then it ends on that. And that's Kung Fu Panda 2.
I haven't seen it in a super long time, so I didn't that was refreshing for me.
I'm surprised I remembered any of it.
I've never seen it.
But I guess that's what happens when you watch it for a summer.
I only saw that first
It's such a great film. I love it above Kung Fu Panda 1, and I actually have not seen Kung Fu Panda 3. And I remember I was like very, very adamant about watching it before it came out, and because I watched Kung Fu Panda 2 so much, and then I just never got around to seeing it, and all the trailers, and it's on Netflix, which is frustrating that I still haven't seen it, but all the trailers for it and stuff just made it feel like it wasn't gonna be the movie that Kung Fu Panda 2 was. And I mean, I shouldn't just listen to
3?
Yeah, for 3. And all the reviews just basically said, yeah, this is a fall from the second. So that's why I never watched it. But I feel like, I shouldn't just listen to reviews. I should just watch and get my own opinion. But I like it above Kung Fu Panda 1 because it I don't know, it gives the main character a little bit more of an interesting struggle, which is basically with himself. Character versus character type of struggle, and how the villain uses that against him is really interesting, and also what the villain wants, and how he tries to get it is very interesting. And not only that, but the animation of the fighting styles and how they use the fighting styles attributed to the character or the animal. All the characters in this film are animals, and how they use the actual animal to the fighting style, and bridge that gap into a beautiful animated film. The story and all the sequences just feel like one fun film in it of itself. And the gags land very well, and it just doesn't feel choppy. It just feels like it's strung together very consistently and well. And
you love this movie.
That's why I really love Kung Fu Panda 2. I haven't seen it in a while now.
You sold it very, very well, and I also think you make me want to rewatch it.
Yeah, it's a great movie to rewatch. Yeah, and I mean, I feel like Kung Fu Panda 1 basically has some of that. It's just
it's a setup movie,
it's
right?
it's basically like Kung Fu Panda 1 just feels like a setup, which is not bad, but it's just like Kung Fu Panda 2 just basically doubles it, makes it a 2. It just makes it even better. So it's just increases everything in all levels in the second movie. So it's just like, all right, cool. Like a sequel kind of should be. It's like, all right, this is actually a better movie than the first one.
So we'll go to the last movie that we have, which is The Lion King. It's off of Bre's list. And would you like to do the honors?
Yeah.
I killed Mufasa. Oh, sorry. Was that?
That's the movie.
Was that not how you gonna start?
No, I was gonna say Hamlet. That's the movie.
Yeah.
If you saw if you know the story of Hamlet, you know this movie.
That's very true.
But no, seriously, it's about little baby Prince Simba, and
they're all lions.
They're all lions. They're all lions. Mm-hmm. Beyonce is not in this movie.
Beyonce's not in this movie.
She's not in this one. She's not in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so
yeah, Lion
Prince.
King 1993, not 2019.
Yeah, very good.
Oh, that movie made me really sad. Anyway, yeah, Lion King 1993
Yeah,
is about
that's what's up.
or is it 92?
I think it's 94.
It's
Oh,
94.
94, really?
Yeah.
Not early 90s Lion King is about a young lion cub named Simba, and he's basically got to find his place in the world. He was born into like this really cool society of being a cool young prince, and his dad is James Earl Jones, and his uncle is Jeremy Irons. And
the actual people, not
yes,
lions.
yes, the actual people.
They're not lions.
They're not and Jeremy Irons' Scar is like super jealous because he wants to be king, not James Earl Jones, Mufasa, and he basically stages a secret plan to kill his nephew and his brother. And he is able to kill Mufasa, but not Simba. At least he thinks he kills him because he sends Whoopi Goldberg and two other folks. I can't remember the actors' names. I'm so upset that I can't remember their names. Their hyenas to go after him because Scar has an alliance with the hyenas. It literally, people, it is Hamlet. It's Hamlet, and he basically like runs off into the wild away from these hyenas that are chasing him. But Simba doesn't know that his uncle basically attempted to kill him and killed his father, and he ends up getting picked up by Timon and Pumbaa, our lovely meerkat and warthog. They basically are two cool dads that adopt this young lion cub. And then baby Simba becomes older and morphs into Matthew Broderick. Matthew Broderick Lion. And they sing really cool songs. And then it turns out the Pride Lands, which is where the lions all live, is like really bad now. It just got really bad because Scar let the hyenas in, and they've been over like hunting, and there's no food. And Kiara, his childhood friend, or not Kiara. Yes. No. Gosh, Nala. Wrong movie. My bad. And Nala. Sorry about that. And Nala, who is Simba's childhood friend. Kiara's his daughter.
daughter.
Second movie.
Like, is that
anyway,
second?
That's Lion King 2. That's Romeo and Juliet. Anyway, Nala goes off in search of help, and she and Simba meet up again as cool teens, young adults, maybe their early 20s. I don't know, they're probably teens. And
they're lions. Continue.
They're lions. They're lion teens. And they catch some feelings for each other, even though they haven't seen each other in a while. That can happen, I guess. And Timon and Pumbaa are like, dang, we lost our bro. And Nala's like, you gotta come back because you need to be king. Everybody thought you were dead, fam. And he's like, no, I don't want to do that. But he also feels the grief of thinking that he killed his father because it was Scar put it in place so that Simba would think that he was the cause of Mufasa's death. But Rafiki, who's kind of like,
wow, yeah,
guess kind of like a vizier as well. Like Jafar was like an advisor to the king. All these viziers. Rafiki ends up meeting Simba again because like he smells his scent in the wind. It's like, he's alive. It is time, he says. Anyway, he meets Simba and tries to kind of knock some sense into him, and he tells him a really good lesson that the past can hurt, but you can either run from it or learn from it. And that is a really good message to give to young folks. And Simba ends up seeing this like majestic figure of his father in the clouds, saying like, how can I go back? I'm not like who I was supposed. I'm not who like you think I am, and like I just feel so alone. And Mufasa's like, like it feels like you've forgotten me, and like you can't run away from your duty, and like it's okay to like look inside yourself and remember who you are. You are my son, and like nothing can change that. And it's just like I feel like that's one of the most beautiful moments in like animated like cinema.
Mm.
Like it brings a tear to my eyes, and the music also makes me tear up every time I hear it. And Simba ends up going back to the Pride Lands, taking down Scar, but before revealing to everyone that like Scar was the one that actually killed Mufasa and like caused all these problems. And um after the whole showdown, Simba takes his place as rightful king and everything is fine.
Man, Scar's a jerk.
Yeah, you're probably a pretty big jerk if you want to kill your brother and your nephew.
Yeah, I mean, I just realized. I mean, yeah, he's already jerk for wanting to murder his brother and nephew. But I only just realized, like, yeah, he also wanted to make Simba believe that he killed his dad when he already was going to kill Simba anyway, so it didn't really matter. So it's like, dang, dude, like, why?
Add insult to injury.
Jeez.
And why is The Lion King one of your favorites?
I think Lion King is one of my favorites because I think it was one of the first Disney movies that, or animated movies in general, that really resonated with me. Because of the dynamic between Simba and Mufasa. For all like the drama that I have like with my mom, or like things that I think about, like, you know, like all the drama you have with your parents. I still really love my mom a lot, and there was something about like seeing this. I know he's a little baby lion, but there's something about seeing like this parent and child relationship that I really liked, and something about like the music as a kid, and the just like Simba wanting to do the best he could, like hit me pretty hard. But like thinking about it, like I don't know, maybe as a kid I just like really enjoyed like seeing cute fluffy lions. But it was another one of those movies that, because my aunt was like a big Disney head, played a lot, and perhaps my love for that movie, like Hunchback, is connected to my aunt because she and I watched it a lot together, and I resonated the relationship with Simba and Mufasa to like me and my mom a bit. But because my aunt too, she had like all this Lion King like paraphernalia. Like she had a lot of Pocahontas stuff, she had a lot of Hunchback stuff. So maybe that's part of the reason why. But watching it a lot as an adult, because I have it on VHS, because I refuse to get rid of a VCR, and I also have Lion King on DVD. I have like the latest Blu-ray one. um, and watching it again as an adult, I've watched it a lot of times. The message of being afraid of things in your past, but trying to face them head on, even if it does hurt, hits me pretty hard, because there are things that I'm like terrified of, like in my past for whatever reason, but I try to face them head on and like do my best in order to like succeed and like follow in the things that I feel that I'm called to do. And Simba's calling was to take his place as the rightful king of the Pride Lands and to like help his people out. Um, I feel like I have a calling to do certain things, and there's also something about the undertone of it being in Africa that I really like. It, well, not even undertone, like it basically it is in Africa, and there's something about that that hits me pretty hard too. Like as an adult, just I don't know, Lion King just really means a lot
No,
to
I love
me.
it. I love
I
it.
feel like I'm not giving like deep enough, profound answers.
No, yeah, your answer is completely fine. It doesn't need to be super deep and profound, but it's kind of like what we said earlier about just like some of our favorite movies having the nostalgic aspect of it, and that's kind of like why we gravitate to it. Um, The Lion King is also on my list of favorites. I was probably like 5 when it came out, and we saw it in theaters. My aunt took myself with a bunch of my cousins, and it was like the first. I'm one of those people that was super into Disney princess movies.
Mm.
So The Lion King, along with The Fox and the Hound, were like 2 films that didn't have princesses, but I was really gravitated to. And I think for me, The Lion King, that nostalgic moment, but then also the soundtrack, I was like, nothing like I love Pocahontas and the Little Mermaid, but the soundtrack for The Lion King obviously trumps all that kind of stuff. Like, just so good.
Yeah.
So I think definitely the scoring and all that sort of stuff that went into the production of the film really solidifies it as like one of my favorites.
For sure.
Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely. I feel like sorry, I'm trying to remember because I don't. I feel like as a kid, or as a little kid, I liked The Lion King, and then at some point, like didn't really like The Lion King that much, but really loved Timon and Pumbaa, and I loved the animated series Timon and Pumbaa, and I also loved Lion King One Half because it was all Timon and Pumbaa. So yeah, I feel like I had a love for the characters, Timon and Pumbaa, but everyone thought I loved Lion King because it's like, oh snap, he loves Lion King, but it was really Timon and Pumbaa.
I mean, they did kind of steal the show a little bit in some
and they
moments.
saved the live action movie too.
Oh, did they?
I feel yes, I
really?
agree with that. Because I saw the live
Yes, yeah.
CG, whatever they want to call it. I don't know because they're afraid to call it CGI. I saw the 2019 one and I left the theater really sad. But Timon and Pumbaa were like the best part of that movie.
Oh, interesting.
Like, for all my love of Donald Glover, I felt like he was really tired in that movie. And for as much as I like Beyonce, I felt like I don't know, I didn't feel like she was tired. I felt like she was very like, I'm Beyonce.
Yeah, I mean, from what I've heard, it just sounds like Beyonce kind of stole the show and made it Beyonce the Lion movie. Is that is that what happened?
Not necessarily. It just kind of felt like Donald Glover wasn't feeling it. Like every time a young adult Simba was on screen, I just didn't really feel anything.
Yeah, and just hearing the duets with the both of them, it sounded like he was very tired, and Beyonce was just like, boom!
Kind of.
So we have a game. It's gonna be super quick, because I don't want to keep you guys too long here.
Very interesting podcast.
Yes, this is the last bit. Our game is called One's Gotta Go. So you may be familiar with this type of ordeal.
Oh no.
You probably should be a little bit scared.
I think I gotta go, guys.
Get Waymond's gotta go. He's done.
Figured it out.
Okay.
He's the one that's gotta go.
First up, for One's Gotta Go, Secret of Nimh. Mrs. Brisby, Justin, Mr. Is it Agus or Jeremy? You both have to pick one to go.
Oh, Miss Ages.
Miss Ages. You both are telling him he's gotta go?
Who was? Oh yeah, Jeremy was. Well, no. I was just saying how to pronounce his name, Mr. Ages. But all right, so it's either Mrs. Brisby, Justin, Mr. Ages, or Jeremy. Ooh,
Jeremy.
Look,
Jeremy.
Look,
Jeremy.
Okay, look, you're not completely wrong.
So I'm right, also, Jeremy.
Like, if you're saying gotta go from, like, the film in general...
Die!
Yes, Jeremy. But my struggle with saying Jeremy, because he would probably be my choice too, is that I really love Dom DeLuise.
Dom DeLuise is the same character in every Don Bluth movie.
Oh, it's great. I love him. I love his voice.
He has really good voice.
I can marry his voice. If they could like have a way to just have his voice and marry it, I would do it. But
you're in California. Yeah. Anything is possible.
Oh man, no, yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Jeremy too.
Bye, Jeremy.
Okay, so we have 2 rounds for Hunchback of Notre Dame. First, we have Victor, Hugo, and Laverne. Those are the gargoyles, by the way.
Oh,
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was like, who are these characters?
Well, yeah, because their names are a play on the writer, Victor Hugo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Hugo.
Who's
Yeah, I
Hugo?
actually don't know
That's
that.
Jason Alexander.
Oh, I like that
I was
one.
like, I can't tell them apart. I never knew their
I like
names.
them all. They all work together so well.
Because Victor's the tall, dramatic one.
Yeah.
Hugo's Jason Alexander.
Yeah.
And Laverne is the grandma.
Okay, look. I feel like if we're again talking about which one has to get out of the movie, because we were talking about those tonal ranges, I feel like Hugo does have to go, but I did have a Hugo toy as well as a kid. I really loved that character. So I will choose Victor.
Okay.
I didn't like him as much.
Next round, Esmeralda, Quasimodo, or Phoebus?
Phoebus.
Who's Phoebus?
Phoebus is blonde man.
Oh, Phoebus.
Okay.
Esmeralda's super hot, and Quasimodo deserves everything in his life. Also, Esmeralda deserves everything as well. She's not just
She
hot.
does. Kung Fu Panda 2, Po, Lord Shen, Tigress, or Viper?
Shen is his name. Oh man, I kept thinking Shinhai, and I was like, that's not a name. That's not his name at all.
Oh, is that Peacock guy?
Yeah, Peacock Guy is Lord Shen. All right, can you say that again?
Po, Lord Shen, Tigress, and Viper.
Oh, well,
I'm gonna say Lord Shen because he's a bad guy.
Well, he makes the movie like without him. All right, so Poe's the main character.
Yes,
he's gonna stay.
Tigress is cool.
Yeah, I'm getting to her. Lord Shen is the antagonist. He makes the movie cool as well. He stays. Tigress, there's a turning point in which Tigress pretty much helps Poe out with a little bit of emotional troubles and kind of like gives a little bit of her backstory and how she can relate with him. So she stays too. Viper she's
a cool snake.
Is one of the only characters that's played by someone of Chinese descent.
Oh my gosh!
So I feel like she needs to stay because it's Lucy Liu and Jackie Chan, and they don't get that much to do in the film.
Wait, who's Jackie Chan?
Jackie Chan's the monkey. I can't remember his name.
He is?
Yeah.
I never knew
exactly. Yeah. He gets like maybe 2 lines.
Wow.
So it's hard for me to choose.
Lord Shen.
Poe, he gotta go.
Oh.
Poe's out of here.
What?
Yeah, didn't think that. I would choose Poe.
No, this is good.
That's right. I just like to flip it on people sometimes. It's Kung Fu Viper now.
Okay, Road to El Dorado. We have Shell, Tulio, Miguel, and Chief Tannenbach.
Oh no.
Chief Tannenbach.
The chief is really
He
nice.
is really nice.
Who are the other characters? I can't remember. The first character.
Chell is their cool friend. The cool lady friend.
Oh, and then I'm guessing Tulio and Miguel are the 2 guys?
They're the 2 guys, yeah.
Red one.
Miguel, you want to get rid of the dreamer?
He gotta go. Oh yeah, is he the one that's like, I want to leave, and blue guy's like, I want to stay or something? Or
no, it's the other way.
Oh, then blue guy, he gotta go.
No, I like Tulio too, man.
Look, I had to choose, so you have to choose.
Well, I don't know, because like Chell's really cool, and she provides them with like information about like surviving.
All right, she's saying she's strong female lead. All right, let's keep going.
And Tulio is like really like, he's like, I don't know, he's like street smarts and knows how to like keep focus and doesn't like lose his cool. Well, he loses his cool sometimes, but he's able to like keep a clear head and just be focused.
Okay.
And Miguel is like, I want to follow my dreams and I want to kind of like leap before I think about it.
Which one did you say was the hot one?
The hot one is Tulio.
All right, you gotta go.
And the chief is a very nice man who wants to support all of the people in his kingdom, and to like let Tulio and Miguel stay if they want and not sacrifice people. And he seems to be like a good dad because he's always like helping the kids out.
And you still haven't chosen.
I choose Julio.
Okay. Last one. The Lion King, okay? Timon, Pumbaa, Rafiki, or Zazu?
Yes. Zazu.
I kind of was also waiting for her to say Zazu.
Well, okay, no, maybe I take that back. Hold on. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe Timon, because Timon's not really a good friend if you think about it.
Yeah, but that's what makes him a great friend.
No, okay. Every time Pumbaa has an idea, Timon is just like, hey, I'm going to say the same thing, and people listen to him, and it's like, hey, that's not really cool.
That isn't cool. But if he went, Pumbaa would be sad because he wouldn't have any friends.
But Timon and Pumbaa did raise a cool honey badger in Lion Guard. Everybody watch Lion Guard. It's canon.
What? Really?
Yeah, Lion Guard is canon.
Oh snap! They raised a honey badger.
Yeah, they're
wow, they're cool dads.
They're cool dads. They're just cool.
Wow, like, they're just raising animals left and right.
Yeah, Timon and Pumbaa are like cool, cool
Man,
dads.
they should have their own animated series. And should not be Left or Goat or whatever the name of the game was. It should totally be Zazu.
But Zazu is the voice of reason, and
he's also trying to colonize with his British accent. Where did the British hornbill bird come from? Why is he here?
Why is he in Africa? I don't know.
He's gotta go.
Oh, man.
Fine, I picked Zazu.
Oh man. That concludes the episode. Thank you guys. It was fun and funny.
Thank you, and sorry we're so rowdy.
Yeah. Also, I have nothing wrong. I have no ill will toward British people. Just British hornbill.
Oh, gosh. Tell the listeners how they can listen to your show and the social media platforms. Maybe you want to give your personal ones, not obligated, but at least the podcast platforms.
Sure. You can find our podcast, wonderful folks, at blackandanimated.podbean.com. That's like our main hosting site where everything's listed. However, if you have Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, was there another one?
I think that's all of them.
Yeah, if you have any of those music streaming kind of applications, you can find the Black and Animated podcast there. Just type Black in, just the letter N, not N as an IN. Black in Animated, you'll find us. We also have Twitter and a Facebook group that you can join. On the Facebook and Twitter, we on the Facebook, we tend to post job postings if we come across them. It's also just a place where people can network if they want, and chat and post artwork if they'd like feedback, things like that. And on the Twitter, we tend to retweet jobs or anything related to Black animated media, or just stuff about people of color as well in the industry. And we also have an Instagram where we post some of the same similar information.
Cool. Well, thank you again. It's been fun.
Oh, the group. We should probably talk about that.
The group? Oh yeah. So and we are also trying to sorry to interrupt your ending, but we're also trying to make Black and Animated a little bit more of organization, open it up to be a helpful part of the animation community IRL. So we've started doing that by holding mixers with different studios, and that's kind of slowly building, but it's still getting there. So yeah, look out for that if you're in the LA area.
Yes, and so in addition to the podcast, Waymond and I kind of handle the podcast side. For the organization side, it's myself, Waymond, and then Lorraine Great, who's really cool, Nyla Magruder, who's really cool, and Neil Wade, who's really cool. And we're all kind of the heads of it and doing our best to organize and get more stuff going for everybody.
Well, that is dope. I really hope one of these days before the year ends, I could meet you guys in real life and attend one of these mixers, because that sounds fun.
Yes,
that'd be awesome.